Allah would say, you don't go towards things which can take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't go towards things which can take away your aql, which is the wasila, which is the means to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't go towards the things which can, lead you to go astray from the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you will not be permanent anymore. You will not be eternal anymore. Allah wants you to be eternal. Allah wants you to be permanent. So that is why you see one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very much careful about is that mindfulness of ours towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Taqwa is the same thing. Every moment you have to taqwa means you have to remember Allah, you have to think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you need to connect to that eternal being. Now imagine there is a time when you are using something, when you are doing something which can take you away, and right now you are not having that mindfulness towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah would say, no, prohibited. What is that thing? That thing can be anything. Any practice which can take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is prohibited or discouraged. One of those things is drugs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. You don't even come to watch salah. You don't even try to attempt to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whilst you are in that moment of being high, being intoxicated. So intoxicants are the things which are taking you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know, alhamdulillah, we are having wonderful community in this regard, but it is necessary to keep insisting on this idea that intoxicants are things which will disconnect you from that eternity. Disconnect you from remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Disconnect you from mindfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Disconnect you from having that taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything which disconnects you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will disconnect you from eternity. Don't you want to be forever? Everyone wants to be forever. Everyone wants to be young. Everyone wants to be, living for a longer life. Why? Because this is the essence of ours. We like eternity. People who are going towards the drugs, towards the intoxicants, they are disconnecting from eternity. This is a very serious matter. First of all, we have to be careful ourselves. We also have to guide our youngsters and children. I'm not talking about these small things that many of us might be using. I don't know, tobacco and those things. I don't even know many of the names of these things. Imam and I don't know those things. These are maybe the small things, maybe, but it's better to avoid these things as well. Go with the things which are not having these types of intoxicants even. But I'm talking about those ones which are very harsh, very harmful. The biggest harm of those things is that those are going to disconnect you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, disconnect you from the purpose of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. You want to reach to the salvation? There is a way. Way is you disconnect yourself from these things which are amalu shaitan. You go to watch Quran, you will find out that there is a group of khutuwat shaitan and there is a group of amalu shaitan. Khutuwat shaitan are the things which are in the way to reach to shaitan. Means it's not purely a practice of shaitan, but if you are not aware, you will reach to shaitan. But amalu shaitan is like shaitani practice itself. People who are going to watch the intoxicants, they are doing the shaitani practice itself. You see anybody, if you see that they are going towards such practices, it is your duty, because they are cutting themselves from the salvation, they are cutting themselves from reaching to the perfection, reaching to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reaching to the perfection and eternity. It is your duty to go towards them, guide them, prohibit them, limit them, and limit them with the love, affection, being friend with them. Many of the times, strictness might not work in all of the segments, so it's better to go with the slow pace in such cases. May Allah give us tawfiq to always get connected to that eternity of His